Late night, early mornings. This is DJ BAX. Welcome to the podcast. Well, it's been a minute. Hopefully everyone's out there doing well. Father's Day weekend, y'all.
Late nights, early mornings.
Give it up for all the fathers out there.
Excuse me, what happened if you mash this button?
Early mornings.
What did it? Oh, oh no. Oh.
Late nights.
I
early
know
mornings.
you're gonna dig this.
Come on.
All right. Check this out.
Early mornings. DJ Bax.
This is the podcast, y'all. I know it's been a minute, but I'm still here.
Late nights, early mornings. DJ.
Get ready to rumble.
Let's rumble. Definitely. Late night, early mornings. This is DJ BAX. Appreciate you checking me out. Know it's been a minute. You know how life is. Life is busy, but still here, still doing a thing. Like I said, once again, shout out to all the fathers out there. Father's Day weekend. Very major. Without fathers, world wouldn't go around, just like with mothers, Also shout out for Juneteenth. Juneteenth is Monday. Shout out to the end of slavery when people of African American culture were, I hate to say the word set free because we were born in this world free, but that's a different show. I'm not going to go that deep into that, but y'all follow me, y'all know what I mean. But shout out to everybody there that's checking me out. Once again, on the Facebook, Instagram, I can post a podcast to TikTok and YouTube. When it comes to DJ and stuff, it's kind of hard to get on TikTok. They'll block you so quick. YouTube, they'll eventually block you. But nevertheless, here, want to get into it. What I wanted to talk about, and I wanted to do this cast earlier on in the year, but like I said, things got busy. But kind of, if you've been following me here, and time to time I'll get on and play music, I'll DJ. And one of the things that I've kind of been doing here for a minute is the red light special. And if you don't know about the red light special, that's kind of paying homage to the slow jams, R&B slow jams, maybe hip hop slow jams, but mainly R&B slow jams from yesterday up until today. Wherever I feel, I just go, and there's there's so many different lanes to go in when it comes to that. And I try to touch a little bit of every one when I do the different shows, but definitely love it. Just something different. I think right now I'm up to either 10 to 12 episodes of Red Light Special, 30-minute set of just, slow jams. And like I said, a lot of times I don't know where I go. Sometimes I think about it during the week and it's like, okay, I want to do this, this, and this, or I hear something, whether it's on social media or radio or TV, wherever. And I'm like, okay, this is where we're going. But definitely wanted to talk about it because it's something that is it's a part of that DJ culture and just, if you're a music lover altogether, I think it's part of that and kind of where it's, came from for me. Red Light Special, like I said, is slow jams and going all the way back. I'm a 70s baby. So for me, in my recollection of when the beginning of music started for me was probably, I would say early 80s. And with that, with R&B, you would find that most of the big artists that are still legends today, they had to come out with a ballad, or we call it a slow jam. And that's how you got into the business. That's what made you an R&B back then. And if you think about it, the big artists that are still legends today, living and not living. If you go back, Whitney Houston, some of her biggest songs are ballads. So that first album, those ballads were like, just the vibe altogether. Luther Vandross, Mariah Carey, Marvin Gaye. You can go on, Aretha Franklin, Anita Baker, Babyface. I mean, you could just go on and on and on with these, artists that had those Prince. How can I forget Prince? Even Mike. I mean, he had major, slow jams, and that's how you came out. Um, I watched, quite a few documentaries, about R&B music producers, all that great stuff. And, back then, yeah, you had to have a big ballad. And and it wasn't just R&B. It was rock as well. Those rock bands, if you go back and look, they had big ballads. But yeah, always like slow jams. Always for me, it always two things that couple with it. It's difference between, up tempo music, obviously. So it kind of puts you in a better space, as far as if you just want to chill and relax. I think between that and jazz, I think those are the two main things that can relax you musically wise. And then it just, it's funny thinking about, back in time, obviously things were a lot different. And, for us, growing up back then, to me, two things resonate when it comes to slow jams. And one is the high school dances. If you ever watched the movie The Wood and the high school dance part, like that kind of is it like that. I think I was like, wow, they kind of wrote that, very similar to some of the things that I dealt with my own life, growing up. But high school dances, waiting to get that slow dance with your crush or whoever, you were dealing with at that time. And the other part of that is the mixtape, slow jam tape. Like back then, slow jam tapes were major. That's your communication. That was the way you communicated with somebody, young lady you were attracted to, whatever. Hey, make her a slow jam tape, let her know how you feel. And it was all good, it was all love. And those words, express, I guess, the way which you were feeling at that particular time. But and I guess we still do it now, except for tapes, we do playlists. And hey, I'm gonna ship you this playlist. But that was all very cool. But the slow jam, to make the perfect slow jam tape, like you just couldn't throw anything on there. You had to put some thought behind it. You put a little bit of Luther, maybe a little Janet, maybe a little Nita, so forth and so on. So you thought about it, at least I did. But slow jam tapes, and then what makes it even more funnier is fast forwarding, as I was a young adult, we get away from tapes and go to CDs. And having that, this is the funniest thing, how much time I spent with this is having you have a multi CD player, multi-change, CD player that took more than one CD. The bigger it was, the better, 50, 10, whatever. But you would, you programming a slow jam night, you would have to sit there and program each song for the CD to change for each song in whatever direction you wanted to go in. So you could spend a lot of time, manually programming that CD player to play the songs when you wanted to play. And please don't let your CD be scratched because it could just throw off everything. But all of that took place, in regards to those slow jams and, all that. And then the other thing is that, it hit different. The words meant, back then in the 80s. And I mean, golly, like I said, I was talking about Luther, but Lionel Richie, I mean, wrote some awesome ballads. But those words hit different, and they had a lot more meaning. It wasn't as how it is today. It's just pretty much today, anything goes. Whatever I come to my head, I'm just going to say it, respectful or unrespectful, disrespectful. I'm going to say it. That's how I feel like a lot of music is today. But back then, there was meaning behind it, purpose, and it was love. It was love. Love was a driver in there, and it was good. Like I said, those songs are going to live forever. Those songs, that Whitney sung, Luther sung, Freddie Jackson, Mike, Prince, Aretha, Gladys Knight. I mean, I can go on, Patty. I mean, can go on and on, but those songs are going to last forever. And the other part of that too is that it stayed that way for a long time. Now, the music did change as things got more aggressive in the 90s, which was kind of my era. So I guess maybe I'm to blame. No, I'm not. But music changed, and I'll say this, and once again, I'm a firm believer, the art and the person, we have to separate. And I think y'all know where I'm going with this, but probably one of the greatest of all time is R. Kelly. And like I said, stuff he did, he's in jail for. Hey, that's separate from the music, because if you look at a lot of artists, and I can go down names, they had something with them along those lines. So, but his music, like, he changed the game. Like he changed the game when hip hop started taking the lead. He was the R&B guy to, shepherd that along. And but his when I talk about Red Light Special and I talk about slow jams, R. Kelly by far probably has the biggest impact of anybody of my generation. Definitely, hands down. I mean, whether it was the guy wrote so many hit songs, and not all of them were raunchy. Yeah, he did go that route, and they're great songs, and kind of changed the game to where we are today. But he wrote some great ballads there, not only for himself but for other people. But then like I said, 90s, it goes different. It gets different. Rap kind of like took the forefront, and we're kind of saying whatever, and R&B followed suit. And you had your R. Kelly's. One of my favorite groups of all time is Jodeci. Diary of a Mad Band was, oh, golly, you're talking about, you can't have a slow jam tape or a Red Light Special without some Jodeci on there. And then you have other groups that follow along, H-Town. I can go Next. You can go SWV, In Vogue. Can't forget about New Edition, BBD, Bobby Brown. Christopher Williams. I mean, I can go on and on about that time period. Guy. But the R&B slow jams kind of changed and got a little more aggressive and more, in your face with it. But those were the times. And but it did change the game. Great 90s, 2000s R&B slow jams, a lot of good classics in there too, which if you listen to the Red Light Special, you'll hear me play a lot of those. And kind of what made me think is like, okay, what era do I like better? Do I like the 80s and earlier slow jams better, or do I like the 90s and 2000s? And I can go either way, depending on the day. Depending on the day. Y'all can comment and tell me what decade you believe is better, but I can go either way depending, because I can go into those 70s and 80s R&B joints, slow jams, and I can pull out, like, I can go on and on and on. But same thing with the 90s and 2000s. That's closer to the age when, I start understanding what all this is about. And that's one of the big things too, where I can appreciate now is going back and listen to those older songs, like those songs, those words that, you know, whole thing means something different now. I understand the words, I understand the direction the music was going in or the song was going in at that particular time. So it is definitely appreciated a lot more now. Um, but even if I look at today, there's some artists that had some good what I call red light special or slow jams today. Her Damage, yeah, I probably played that song probably for a year straight. Love it. What's my guy? Lucky Day, that over. He nailed that. That was awesome. Scissor has some songs, Summer has some, Jeremiah, Jacquees. I mean, you can go on and on. They do a good job with it. Is it, like I said, it's a little more direct, I would say, and straight to the point, or kind of, unfiltered now. But if you break it down, it's all the same thing. We all know where it's going, right? And no, just appreciate a different version of R&B that I appreciate. Like I said, those songs will live forever. Um, and I'll continue to do the red light special until I'm like, okay, I think I done played everything. But there's so much. There's so much. I made a lot of it. I keep it generally 90s, 2000s. I think one set I did go back into the 80s. I'll probably do a couple of more back into because there's so many songs that I could touch on. But it's a great series. I definitely appreciate that music, and I know a lot of people do too. I mean, like slow jams. That's what brings the kids in the world, right? But anyway, I definitely I'm going to keep this podcast short because it gives me a better opportunity to post it without cutting it 3 and 4 times. But definitely appreciate everybody to keep checking out the podcast. Post in what your favorite slow jam is. Get hit it on the comment. On there. I'll get it in the red light special. Have fun with it. But as I wrap this up, once again, I want everybody to please have a good Father's Day. Show those fathers some love. They do a lot of things to help make the world better. So shout out to the fathers, and also shout out to the African American community for Juneteenth. It's our day. It's a federal holiday now, even though I have to work, but we want to celebrate that and appreciate that. So once again, thank you for checking out the late night early morning podcast. My name is DJ BAX, and I'll catch you on the next go around. Please be safe out there. Peace.
Excuse me, what happened if you mash this button? What do they do? Oh, no. Ooh. Oh.
Bar is now closed.